Chapter 1. The year was 1963. Early in the life of our church, God stirred our hearts to have our first missions conference. This, however, is not a story about what we've done. It's a story about the heart of God, the power of prayer, and the significance of relationships. This is a story about the greatness of God. When we weren't sure what the next steps would be, we prayed, and God provided faithful leaders committed to prayer. Leaders like Juanita Christensen, who was inspired by a friend sent as a missionary to the Congo. Concern for the Landrud's financial and ministry needs gave her a burden to pray. God raised up others too with a deep commitment to prayer and a willingness to sacrifice so others could know Jesus. Every year as we prayed and gave financially, God opened new doors of opportunity. When we wondered how we could afford it, God provided the resources to reach out and far. With a missions budget of $480, we stepped out in faith, trusting God for the future. As we sought to be wise stewards of our financial resources, God continued to greatly provide. We're thankful that by 1973, 20% of our general funds were able to go towards support of local and overseas missions. When we wondered who would be willing to go, God called faithful to be sent out. As He raised up individuals from Wayside like Janet Morgan, the Hensleys and the Verms, who we still support today, we became a sending church. Strong relationships grew as missionaries who came to San Antonio stayed in our homes, and intimate fellowships developed as we shared with their joys and their struggles. We began to support couples serving in the Philippines, Zaire, Indonesia, Japan, and the Congo. In addition, short-term teams began making trips to Venezuela, Jamaica, and a Navajo reservation in Arizona. When we wondered who to partner with in new areas of ministry, God provided the connections to strategic places and godly people. He revealed new opportunities through relationships. We saw God bring a young man, Gerald Seruwagi, from Uganda to study at a nearby school, and then here to visit Wayside. Through Gerald, God connected us to Peter Kesirivu and Charles Burageya, which led to our partnership in 3 very dynamic ministries in Uganda and Rwanda. We thank you, O Lord, over and over and over again. Your faithfulness is overwhelming, and we want to tell everyone we meet how great is our God. Chapter 2. Through the 80s, we learned to step out more boldly in faith, and God expanded our vision. When we wondered how we would keep pace with the growth, God provided all we needed. Desiring to have a greater impact in our world, a high percentage of our general offerings went to missions. In a unified voice, Wayside leadership challenged us to join 9 other churches to give $1 million by the year 2000 to spread the good news of Jesus around the world. In faith, people responded sacrificially. When we sought God in prayer to use these resources wisely, He led us to new people and places. By 1985, we had the privilege of supporting 52 individuals serving throughout the world. We're grateful that the Lord showed us new ways to encourage and support them as they faced struggles and needs. We were learning to be good partners. When we wondered how to reach the corners of the world in the future, God showed us that kids can make a difference. Our vision grew to include the youngest members at Wayside. With a sense of adventure, our children were introduced to the cultures and religions of tribal people, Hindus, Muslims, and Buddhists, in order to build discernment about the truth of the gospel and develop a heart of giving. Children were given opportunities to make a real difference. Their projects included buying a water buffalo and an elephant for Thailand, a bus for the children's ministry in Uganda, Africa, and a 3-wheeler bike and mopeds for pastors in India. Our children learned that they can serve God and that their prayers can change the world. We thank you, O Lord, over and over and over again. Your faithfulness is overwhelming, and we want to tell everyone we meet how great is our God. Chapter 3. Opportunities and technology exploded in the 1990s. As the world became smaller through swifter communication and ease of travel, we saw the Lord continue to help us reach out and far as never before. When we were unsure of our next steps and needed greater guidance, God provided faithful leaders committed to prayer. In 1990, Jean Witterveen joined our staff to coordinate our care and support of the 74 missionaries we partnered with. Then in 1993, Marvin Smith became our first pastor of missions and organized our short-term ministries into teams committed to prayer, care, and long-term planning to aid our national partners in a variety of ministries. When we wondered where to effectively serve in new parts of the world, God again provided faithful national partners to join hands with. An exploratory trip to Romania in 1990 led to the formation of a relationship with church leaders who had served underground during communism. This led to an ongoing ministry that supports pastors, orphans, and an English camp program which continues today. Medical teams were formed to go to India and to the Ukraine. A team of dentists started making trips to Thailand to train evangelists as doctors. These barefoot doctors travel to remote areas where they not only care for the physical needs of people, but also open doors for the gospel. We praise God for also leading us to partner with an exceptional group of church planting pastors in Croatia and Bosnia-Herzegovina. In 1995, our student ministry began a partnership with the organization Mission Discovery. Since that time, over 600 teens have been on summer mission trips to Mexico, Honduras, and El Salvador. By the year 2000, we were supporting 99 missionaries serving around the globe. Behind the people and the numbers, the foundation of our missions and outreach ministry has remained the same for almost 45 years. We long to share in the desire of God's heart to reconcile the world to Himself. By the power of God released in prayer, we are seeing the commission to make disciples of Jesus Christ being fulfilled through God-ordained relationships with faithful people here, near and far. As we have seen God's faithfulness in the past, so He challenges us to step out in faith for the future. Join us as we journey together in the chapters to come. We thank You, O Lord, over and over and over again. Your faithfulness is overwhelming, and we want to tell everyone we meet how great is our God.